What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here. And what happened to these legendary champions, Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Alexander Volk? They all became champion in 2019. They had 5 title defenses. Izzy, he won the interim title, and then he got his 6 title fight wins. So you could probably say he's had 6 title defenses, but the interim title is just it doesn't really count in terms of title defenses because he wasn't the undisputed champion. But they at this moment in time, they've all lost their belts. Volkanovski just lost it against Ilya. Izzy lost it against Pereira, and then he lost it and gained it back, and then lost it against Sean Strickland. And Kamaru lost it to Leon Edwards. Now, these guys, there's a point in time where people thought that, they're going to keep on winning and become the divisional GOATs. Alexander Volkanovski, in my opinion, he is a featherweight GOAT. Kamaru, I think if he beat Leon and he comes out at 170, I think he would have became the 170 GOAT. But I still think it's GSP right now. And at middleweight, I think that Adesanya is very close to being the GOAT over Anderson Silva. I think if he can get the belt back one more time, I think he's going to be up there. But I think that there's 3 things that led to, them losing the belt and maybe the start of their downfall. I don't really want to say that because I want to see these guys win. I want to see these guys get their belts back. I'm a huge fan of each of these guys. I was very, very sad when they lost. But I think that the 3 factors that, it can also all be into one big factor, but I'm going to break it down a bit. And the 3 things that I believe led to their downfalls and loss of their belts, well, first is overconfidence, second is complacency, and third is just stylistic matchups. Now, for overconfidence, when you get to the level that these guys got to with all the wins and all the dominant performances, it starts to make sense why you're going to be confident. It's natural that you're going to be confident, but once you get to a certain level, once you start, being the number 1 pound for pound, you're undefeated for this many years, and you just, you're putting these guys away in relatively easy fashion at times, and the fans are going to build you up as well in your family and everyone surrounding you, you're going to start to get overconfident. I mentioned how Alexander Volkanovski's overconfidence was his weakness in a previous video because he lost to Islam, but everyone told him that he won, and he thought he won himself, and then he thought he could beat Islam on short notice, but he didn't, and he thought that he could beat Ilya without properly resting, and that just kind of plays into the overconfidence. With Kamaru Usman, he was talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez and going up to fight Yuri Prochazka at 205 pounds, and he was a pound for pound, so he thought that, there was no way Leon Edwards was going to beat him, and Adesanya considered Drake Duplessis and potentially Sean Strickland easy fights because he had just been his boogeyman, Alex Pereira. And Adesanya also had, he was regarded as the best striker in the UFC, and, we seen what happened with Pereira and Strickland, so Adesanya was I'm going to dust this guy, and everyone was thinking the same thing, but it didn't happen. Now, the second thing is complacency, and, we've seen this time and time again. George St. Pierre mentioned this, Anderson Silva, John Jones. Once you start beating opponents time after time, you kind of start getting complacent. There's a period where you're growing in skills and you're improving. Kamaru Usman's striking improved a lot from if you look at his Tyron Woodley fight to his Gilbert Burns fight, his striking looked so much better. Volkanovski, same thing. His speed and his timing and everything from the second Max Holloway fight to the third Max Holloway fight, it's completely different. He's made significant improvements. But at a certain point in time, you're beating everyone with simple things, and you're I don't really need to change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you just kind of stay comfortable, and you're comfortable with winning these decisions. Well, your opponents at times are dangerous and hungry, and they want that opportunity, and it's just that hunger, or you're just comfortable with getting a decision. They're still gonna be dangerous all the way through up until the last belt, basically. And the third reason why they lost is due to stylistic matchups and the there's often this argument that styles make fights, but I think I got a solution for that. I think that the way you avoid, the way you beat someone who's just got a better style than you is, well, first, before I get to that, I want to talk about their opponents. Like, Leon Edwards had a great style against Kamaru Usman because he had great grappling defense. He had, good jiu-jitsu. He was able to get back to his feet every single time, and he was able to break the clinch. The Kamaru Usman's grappling attempts and break the holds. And he was able to outstrike Kamaru Usman at range with his long kicks to the head, to the body, and to the legs. And Kamaru had a tendency to, dip his head at times and punching exchanges. So that head kick, that hole in his game was there long before Leon exploited it. And for Volkanovski, he fought Ilya, a guy who, he's got great boxing. He's going to put a lot of pressure on you. Volkanovski's not the best in the pocket, and he leaves his chin up in the air, and he backs up in straight lines. At times, he did it against Yair Rodriguez. He did it again against Ilya, a guy who's throwing hooks and combinations to block you off as well. And that hole was in his game long before he fought Ilya. For Israel, his hole was, someone who puts a lot of pressure on you, doesn't stop, isn't gonna respect your feints, and it's just gonna disrupt you with their jab and take your jab away. And that's what Sean Strickland did to him. And he kept making Adesanya having to retreat in a sense, and he never really let him set up, take his time and set his feints up and set his strikes up. But the way that all these guys could have, beat their opponents and fix all their holes is just go back in your training sessions, and it's not always about preparing for a specific opponent. John Jones is really good at that, but sometimes your physical abilities aren't gonna bail you out of fights, and you're gonna need to really assess yourself and find mistakes in your game, rewatch your fights, find ways to be yourself. Basically, once you do that, you're gonna level up, you're gonna fix your holes, and there's always gonna be a way to be you. So there's always gonna be a way to improve yourself, because essentially you always find a way to be, because you're always gonna get hit, you're always gonna get touched up, you're always gonna get tired. So there's always something to improve on. And I think looking back at your mistakes and your holes, it's gonna eliminate that stylistic matchup, and you're gonna be a lot more well-rounded, and you're gonna be able to deal with various styles a lot better. And I hope that these guys, now that they've all lost and seen their holes, I hope they make the right adjustments and come back and reclaim their belts, but it's gonna be tough.